Chosen one. Heaven has paused everything around you for this exact moment. The noise of the world fades. The scroll stops beneath your finger, and the air itself feels charged, because this is not coincidence. This is divine interruption. The message you are about to hear was written into your timeline long before you were born. You have walked through storms, carried invisible burdens, and faced rejection that nearly broke you. But even in the silence, heaven has been whispering your name. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not ordinary. You feel that stirring in your spirit because something greater is unfolding. You have sensed it for days, maybe weeks, a strange pressure in the air, a pull towards something you can't explain. That's not anxiety. It's awakening. It's the Spirit aligning you with divine timing. Tuesday is coming. And it's not just another day on the calendar. It's a prophetic moment waiting to manifest. You have stepped into the week where heaven's agenda collides with human obedience. And you, yes, you are part of that collision. Do you realize how rare that is? Out of billions of souls walking this earth, heaven has chosen to speak to you now. The creator of time and breath has paused your feed, your thoughts, your routine, to remind you that you are called, not someday, not when you feel ready, now, because the hour has come where hesitation costs too much, and obedience opens doors you never imagined. Every scar you carry is a mark of purpose. The nights you cried silently, the seasons you felt unseen, they were not wasted. God saw every tear as a seed of destiny. What you survived was not meant to break you, it was training. Your spirit was tempered in fire, so that when this moment arrived, you would recognize it. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not ordinary. You feel that stirring in your spirit because something greater is unfolding. You have sensed it for days, maybe weeks, a strange pressure in the air, a pull towards something you can't explain. That's not anxiety. It's awakening. It's the Spirit aligning you with divine timing. Tuesday is coming. And it's not just another day on the calendar. It's a prophetic moment waiting to manifest, as was spoken in the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 46, verse 10, Be still, and know that I am God. These ancient words are not just poetry, they are command and comfort. Be still, not passive, but aware. No, not guess, but recognize that the same God who formed the mountains is moving in your life right now. When you stop striving, when you quiet the noise of fear and hurry, that's when revelation enters. The stillness becomes holy ground. You see, the reason heaven interrupts your scrolling isn't to entertain you, it's to awaken you. There is a shift taking place in the unseen. The Spirit is rearranging the chessboard of your life, positioning you for impact. But before that can happen, you must come into agreement with your identity. You are not what they said about you. You are not your mistakes. You are not the sum of your losses. You are chosen, marked, set apart for something divine. So pause there. Take this in. The message isn't random, it's a wake-up call. The Spirit is saying, prepare your heart. The time of divine unfolding begins on Tuesday. The pieces you've been waiting for will start aligning. The conversations, the signs, the inner confirmations, they will come faster than before. But you must stay sensitive. Do not let distraction pull you out of alignment. Heaven is setting an appointment, and your attendance is required. You've been feeling the shaking because foundation is shifting. You've felt the isolation because elevation always begins in solitude. What others call rejection, heaven calls redirection. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out radiant, resilient, royal. You are part of a remnant that refuses to bow to fear or compromise. The world will soon understand that those who walk in obedience carry a different fire. So listen carefully. When Tuesday arrives, don't treat it like any other day. Treat it as an altar, a day of surrender, of decision, of declaration. Heaven will be watching to see who truly believes, who truly listens, who truly obeys. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up with faith. Beloved chosen one, this is your moment to respond. If your spirit resonates, if something inside you knows this word is for you, then act. Don't scroll past this encounter as if it were another video, another post, another fleeting thought. This is holy territory. Heaven is speaking your name, and your response determines the next chapter. Like this message, if you feel the pull of destiny stirring within you, share it so that another chosen one can awaken before it's too late. And most of all, subscribe so that you remain connected to this prophetic flow, because what's about to unfold on Tuesday will not just touch the world, it will transform you. Comment 777 below as a prophetic act, declaring, I am ready for what heaven has prepared. No, you have felt it for days now, a quiet stirring in your chest, a sense that something unseen is gathering just beyond the edge of the natural world. You wake up with a strange anticipation, a pressure you can't quite name. It's not fear, it's not anxiety. It's the whisper before the storm, the voice of heaven preparing you for what's coming. Every chosen one feels it before divine transition, that holy tension between what has been and what is about to be. You sense that Tuesday carries weight, as if time itself is holding its breath. Heaven measures moments differently than humans do. What seems like another ordinary sunrise in the world's eyes could be the dawn of prophecy fulfilled in yours. That is why your spirit feels restless. It knows something your mind cannot yet grasp. The veil between the visible and invisible thins when divine timing approaches. Listen carefully. Chosen one. Before God releases a great unveiling, there is always a whisper. Before the rain comes, there is a cloud the size of a man's hand. Before the promise manifests, there is a silence that tests your faith. And that's where you stand now, in the in-between, where the divine whisper begins to echo louder than the world's distractions. You've felt the pull to isolate, to step back, to reflect. That isn't coincidence. It's preparation. The Spirit is tuning your heart to the right frequency so that when heaven speaks fully, you will recognize the sound. You have already noticed the small signs, numbers repeating on clocks, names surfacing in your thoughts, sudden memories resurfacing. These are not accidents. They are spiritual breadcrumbs leading you toward alignment. God is strategic, never random. Every gentle nudge is an invitation to lean in, to pay attention, to stop treating the supernatural as coincidence. There is a rhythm to heaven, and those who listen can hear it even in the quiet. That's why some people around you seem unsettled when you speak about what you sense. They cannot hear what you hear, because they are not tuned to that frequency. Don't let their disbelief silence your discernment. Revelation is personal before it is public. The whisper is for your preparation. The manifestation will confirm it later. You must learn to guard the whisper. Too many lose their promise because they announce what heaven told them too soon. The enemy loves to attack revelation before it matures. This week, keep your spirit still and your words few. Listen more than you speak. The same God who gave you the promise will reveal the timing. When you start to doubt, remember how God always speaks before he acts. He warned Noah before the flood. He called Abraham before the covenant. He whispered to Elijah before the fire fell. And he is whispering to you now, because something is about to break open. You might not understand the full message yet, but obedience doesn't require understanding. It requires trust. What if your next level of blessing depends not on doing more, but on listening deeper? What if heaven is testing whether you can stay still long enough to hear the full instruction before moving? You are being trained for precision. The Spirit doesn't want reaction. It wants response. That's why delays have appeared in your life lately. They are divine pauses, not punishments. Heaven withholds what is premature, not what is promised. Trust that timing. The whisper you feel right now carries more power than any shout from the world. As the prophet once wrote in the scroll of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7, "Surely the Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets." These words remind you that nothing catches heaven off guard. Before the world sees, God shows his chosen. Before events unfold, revelation comes as warning and preparation. You, chosen one, are part of that inner circle. You hear what others miss because you were designed to walk by revelation, not by reaction. Let that truth settle deep into you. If you could see the heavenly council, you would realize that your name has been mentioned. Heaven is orchestrating movements, sending angelic messengers, aligning encounters, all because you have been chosen to carry light into dark places. The whisper you hear is not about fear, it's about responsibility. You have been entrusted with divine knowledge, and with it comes accountability. So listen. Listen when the day feels heavy. Listen when silence stretches long. Listen when you feel misunderstood. When even those you love cannot grasp your calling. The whisper is still speaking. The shift that begins on Tuesday is not random. It is the unfolding of what heaven has already revealed to your spirit. The countdown has begun. Chosen one. The closer Tuesday draws, the heavier the atmosphere feels, not with fear, but with divine anticipation. You can almost hear it, the rhythm of heaven aligning with the pulse of your destiny. This is not another week rolling by on the calendar. This is the appointed hour when prophecy meets obedience, when what was whispered in secret begins to unfold in the open. You have been sensing it deep within the strange mix of excitement and trembling that comes before revelation. You don't even fully know what's about to happen, but your spirit recognizes it. Heaven has written this moment into your timeline, and time itself is preparing to obey. Every delay, every detour, every tear you've shed has been working together to position you here. When the clock strikes Tuesday, something shifts. But listen carefully. Divine timing requires divine awareness. You cannot treat holy moments casually. You cannot sleep through destiny and expect it to wait for you. That is why this message comes to awaken you, to shake the dust off your faith, and remind you that you were born for divine intersections. The world may not notice anything different on that day, but you will. You'll feel the shift in your spirit before your eyes ever see it. You'll recognize the divine rhythm unfolding quietly behind the chaos of the visible. When heaven moves, it doesn't always come with thunder. It often comes disguised in ordinary moments. The conversation you almost skip. The message you almost ignore. The opportunity you almost decline. Each one could carry the key to the next season. You must be alert. Chosen one. Discernment is your shield in this hour. There will be distractions. Sudden noise meant to divert your focus. The enemy cannot stop what God has ordained, but he can distract you long enough to make you miss the cue. Don't fall for it. Keep your eyes fixed on what heaven is revealing. As it was written in the sacred texts of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. This ancient command was not only for prophets, it was for every chosen one called to steward revelation. You cannot run with what you refuse to write. You cannot live what you have not yet believed. This week, heaven calls you to clarity. What has God whispered to you in the secret place? Write it. Speak it. Declare it. Vision is the seed of manifestation. But beware, every vision will be tested before it manifests. The shaking you've been feeling isn't destruction, it's confirmation. Heaven shakes what cannot remain so that what is eternal can stand. Don't mistake spiritual turbulence for rejection. The turbulence means the plane is taking off. So, as the hour approaches, choose alignment over anxiety. Let peace lead you. Not panits. The same God who scheduled your rising will sustain it. Trust his precision. He wastes nothing, not the pain, not the waiting, not even the silence. You stand on the threshold of prophecy fulfilled. When Tuesday dawns, step into that day with reverence. Speak less. Listen more. Let your spirit be a sanctuary where the divine can dwell unhindered. The moment may come quietly, a phone call, a message, a sudden realization, but when it does, you will know. You will feel the unmistakable confirmation. This is the day heaven wrote about. The world will keep spinning as usual, unaware that heaven just turned a page in your destiny. But you will know, because you listened, because you waited, because you obeyed. Now, pause, breathe, and let this truth anchor you. The alignment between heaven and earth is not something you chase, it's something you step into by faith. Your preparation creates the bridge where the miracle will walk, and when it unfolds, you will remember this moment not as a prediction, but as a confirmation that heaven had you in mind all along. If this word burns within your spirit, type, I am ready. Those 3 words may seem simple, but they are powerful. They are your declaration of agreement with heaven's timing. When you write them, you are not merely commenting, you are aligning your life with divine order. You are telling the universe that you refuse to sleep through destiny, that you are awake, alert, and available for what God is about to do. Heaven listens to declarations spoken in faith. And this one, I am ready, marks your agreement with what is unfolding on Tuesday. So say it, write it, mean it. The moment you do, the atmosphere begins to shift. There comes a moment in every divine journey when silence becomes separation, when the Spirit begins to draw a line between those who hear and those who merely listen. You've begun to notice it, haven't you? The slow drifting of people from your life. The sudden stillness, where once there was constant noise. It's not rejection, it's refinement. Heaven is removing the unnecessary, so that what is pure may remain. This is the silent separation. Chosen one. It is not meant to punish you, it is meant to protect you. For when divine fire descends, not everyone can withstand its heat. There are those who were assigned to your past, but not to your promise. There are relationships that cannot walk with you into Tuesday's revelation. And even though the distance hurts, it is mercy in disguise. Heaven separates before it elevates. You might have wondered why certain doors closed abruptly, why certain people stopped understanding you. But understand this, divine vision creates spiritual tension. When the light in you grows brighter, it exposes the shadows in others. The moment you start walking in obedience, you disturb anything built on comfort and compromise. That's why some withdrew from you. It wasn't betrayal. It was alignment. They simply could not walk at the altitude you're being lifted to. You are being pruned, not punished. Even the fruitful branches are cut back so they may bear more fruit. It feels lonely now, but solitude is the forge of the chosen. Every prophet, every leader, every vessel of God has walked through this same sacred silence. Before the public unveiling comes the private refining. Before the announcement comes the isolation. Think back on your recent days, the quiet moments where you felt unseen, the prayers that felt unanswered, the friendships that faded without explanation. Each one carried a message. Heaven is setting you apart. The divine cannot mix with the divided. If you carry holy fire, you cannot remain where smoke is tolerated. The Spirit is saying, do not mourn what I have removed. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's revelation. The same God who called you will also cleanse your surroundings so that nothing corrupts your purpose. The pruning may sting, but what follows will overflow. When God begins to separate, He is not taking away, He is making room. Room for purity, room for focus, room for destiny to breathe. You have been asking for clarity, but clarity cannot exist in clutter. That's why people, patterns, and even comforts are being stripped away. It's not loss, it's liberation. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14, many are called, but few are chosen. Those few are not defined by perfection, but by persistence. They do not run when refinement comes. They remain. They endure. And you, chosen one, are among them. You have endured what would have broken others because you understood that obedience often looks like isolation. When God calls someone higher, He first calls them away from the familiar, away from distractions, away from the voices that dilute conviction. That's why your circle has grown smaller. It's divine math. Heaven subtracts before it multiplies. You see, the crowd celebrates miracles, but the chosen endure pruning. The crowd hears noise, the chosen recognize whispers. The crowd looks for signs, the chosen are the sign. And while others chase the applause of people, you are learning the rhythm of heaven's approval. Do not rush the silence. Learn to dwell in it. For in the quiet, revelation matures. The separation creates the stillness necessary for your spirit to receive instructions for the next phase. If God had allowed the noise to continue, you would have missed the whisper. This solitude is sacred. The separation may also test your heart. You will be tempted to question your worth, to wonder if you did something wrong. But the Spirit reminds you, gold is not questioned when it's refined, it is confirmed. The fire proves its value. The silence proves your strength. Heaven is testing your loyalty, not to people, but to purpose. Will you keep walking when no one claps? Will you still believe when the crowd grows quiet? Because after Tuesday, the revelation that unfolds will not be for everyone. It will be for those who stayed when comfort left. So let go of what's slipping away. Stop trying to resurrect what heaven has released. Some connections are seasonal, others are eternal. You will know the difference by the peace that remains after they're gone. Peace always follows divine separation. Look ahead now. What feels like emptiness is actually holy space room for the new assignments, new voices, and new strength that are being prepared for you. The silence is not punishment, it's prophecy. It is heaven's way of saying, you are ready for more. You can almost feel the air changing. Chosen one. What was once hidden begins to move toward the light. The silence of separation has carved space inside you for something extraordinary to be born, the awakening of your hidden assignment. This is the season when divine blueprints unfold, not on paper, but within your heart. You are beginning to sense that what you've survived wasn't random, it was rehearsal for revelation. For years, you've carried questions like seeds in your chest. Why this pain? Why this path? Why me? But seeds must first go underground before they rise. You weren't buried, you were planted. And now, the soil of struggle is cracking open because the roots of destiny are pushing upward. You are about to see why it had to happen this way. The waiting was never wasted. It was watering what God placed inside you. In every chosen life, there comes a divine unveiling, a moment when heaven whispers, now, that moment is near. You will feel it like sunlight through the clouds, like the warmth of recognition in a stranger's smile. Your gifts will start to surface naturally, like rivers remembering the way to the sea. Don't resist it. Don't shrink back. Heaven has waited long enough for you to step fully into the calling that was written before time began. You might say, but I don't know where to start. The answer is simpler than you think. Start where you are, with what you have, and let heaven multiply it. Moses had only a staff. David had only a sling. The widow had only a jar of oil. You have something too, an idea, a word, a will, a spark. Place it in God's hands and watch it grow beyond your imagination. Heaven measures obedience, not outcome. Every act of faith, no matter how small, echoes through eternity. You are being called to act, not because God needs your strength, but because obedience unlocks His power. What He begins in you will ripple outward, touching lives you may never meet, changing hearts you may never see. As the Apostle Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." This verse isn't a suggestion, it's a revelation. You were designed, handcrafted by the Creator, for a purpose already prepared. Your existence isn't random, it's intentional art. Every scar, every victory, every delay, it all fits the masterpiece. He's weaving through you. Think of yourself as a lantern. The glass has been cracked by hardship. Yes, but that very crack allows more light to shine through. The world doesn't need your perfection, it needs your authenticity. The glow of grace leaking through broken places is what ignites others. When you live your assignment out loud, you become living proof that light always wins. And as your light begins to burn brighter, others will find their way because of you. That is the nature of divine purpose. It's never self-serving. Your breakthrough becomes someone else's roadmap. Your healing becomes someone else's hope. You become a walking revelation of redemption. If this message resonates in your spirit, let it settle deeply before you act. But when your heart tells you it's time, respond, like a river that gives back to the ocean that feeds it. Your engagement helps this flow continue. If these words have spoken to your soul, gently tap the like. Share this with another searching heart. Or subscribe so the message can keep reaching those still wandering in the dark. Every gesture, no matter how small, becomes part of the same divine rhythm, light meeting light. And if you feel moved, consider sowing a seed into this message through your giving. Not out of pressure, but out of participation. Giving is never about transaction, it's about alignment. The same way rain feeds the soil that birthed you. Your support waters the ground from which this word grows. When you give, whether time, prayer, or donation, you aren't funding a voice. You're fueling a mission, the awakening of souls across the earth. So let your act be an echo of your faith. Let it whisper, I believe in what heaven is doing through this message. You may never know whose midnight your small light will pierce. But heaven does. And heaven never forgets a giver whose motive is love. Chosen one. The assignment that sleeps within you is stirring. You can feel it, the pulse of purpose under your ribs. The holy fire warming the cold corners of your courage. Do not run from it now. The world needs what you carry. Heaven did not choose you by accident. It chose you because you were willing. Your life is a letter written by the hand of God. And the ink is still fresh. Keep walking forward. Keep believing. Keep shining. You are His workmanship. Living proof that what is crafted in heaven cannot be broken on earth. Pressure has been building in the unseen. You felt it not just around you, but inside you. It's as if the air itself has become heavier, and every thought carries weight. But, chosen one, do not mistake this pressure for punishment. It is not wrath, it is refinement. You are standing at the breaking point, not because you are failing, but because you are being formed. You see, breaking points are birthing points. The moment you feel you cannot carry any more is often the moment heaven begins to lift the weight. God allows pressure not to destroy you, but to define you. When the cracks appear, it's not the end, it's the unveiling of what's inside. Diamonds are not born from comfort. They are forged under pressure so great that ordinary stone would crumble. You, chosen one, are being transformed from coal to crown. In this hour, it may feel like everything is shaking. Finances, relationships, health. Even your sense of direction may seem uncertain. But look closer. Shaking always precedes settling. The things that are shaking are not your foundation. They are the loose pieces that can no longer remain. God is removing what cannot endure, so that what must remain will stand stronger. Heaven is saying, hold steady. You are closer than you think. The storm is not a sign that you are off course. It's proof that you are in motion. Ships are not built to stay in calm harbors. You were designed to sail into destiny, even through wind and wave. The same God who called you into the deep will not let you sink beneath it. As was written in the ancient story of Job, chapter 13, verse 15, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." These are not the words of resignation, they are the declaration of a warrior who refuses to bow to circumstance. Job's faith did not vanish in the fire, it was purified by it. That same faith runs in your veins. The world may see pressure as peril, but heaven sees it as proof. There is a holy endurance being formed inside you. Others would have quit by now, but you are still here. You are still standing, still hoping, still believing, and that alone is victory. Don't you see it? Every time you choose faith over fear, you move closer to your breakthrough. Every tear that fell has watered a harvest that is now breaking through the soil. The pressure you feel today will soon become the power you walk in tomorrow. But first, you must let go of resistance. Stop fighting the process. Let the fire refine you, not define you. The greater the calling, the greater the crushing, but the greater the glory that follows. You might say, "I'm tired. I don't know how much more I can take." And heaven replies, "Then rest in me." You were never meant to carry the entire mountain, only the faith to climb it. If you only knew how close you were to the other side, you would not fear this final stretch. Every battle has a breaking point, and every breaking point births breakthrough. Let the Spirit remind you, surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. You cannot be filled until you are emptied of your own strength. And when you release control, you will feel peace like a soft rain after drought. That is the sign that the breaking has done its work. When you look back, you will not remember the pain of this moment. You will remember the strength it produced. You will remember how the shaking cleared your vision, how the pressure pushed you into purpose, how the breaking taught you to trust again. Chosen one. If this word reaches the deepest part of you, if it feels like it was written inside your bones, then know that heaven sees you. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. You are not being buried, you are being birthed. The pressure is not here to end you, it's here to announce your becoming. And when the dawn comes, you will rise stronger, wiser, and gentler than before. You will move with quiet authority, the kind that can only come from one who has been crushed but not consumed. If this message speaks to you, comment 111 below. Those 3 ones are not just numbers, they symbolize divine unity. Your spirit, God's will, and heaven's timing coming into alignment. When you type 111, you declare that even in the pressure, you choose trust. You stand in agreement with the process, believing that what's breaking is only revealing what's eternal. Hold on. Chosen one. The breaking is almost over, and what emerges next will be beautiful beyond measure. Darkness notices when light begins to rise. That is why, lately, you've felt resistance in unexpected places, confusion where there once was clarity, fatigue where there once was fire. Do not be surprised. Chosen one. When you start walking in purpose, the shadows stir. Opposition is not evidence of abandonment. It is confirmation of your advancement. The very fact that resistance has increased means heaven has recognized your readiness. You are moving into territory that once belonged to fear, and fear doesn't surrender quietly. The closer you draw to break through, the louder the battle becomes. The darkness around you can sense what is coming, the rising of someone unstoppable. It will attempt to intimidate you with pressure, distractions, and old wounds. But you must remember, light doesn't negotiate with darkness. It conquers it simply by shining. Every time you choose peace over panic, you defeat an invisible enemy. Every time you speak life instead of complaint, you silence the accuser. The war is not fought with fists or fury, but with faith. The enemy cannot steal what you surrender to God. When you release control, you become untouchable. This is spiritual warfare, not punishment. Heaven is training your hands for battle, your heart for endurance, your mind for wisdom. The weapons formed against you are real, but their success is not guaranteed. Your faith is the shield that renders them powerless. You may have felt the impact of their attempts, but they cannot pierce what heaven has sealed. What you're facing now is not random, it's strategic. The darkness is reacting to your movement. You have been positioned in places where your light is needed most. Even your workplace, your home, your friendships, none of them are accidental. You are heaven's representative in territories where despair once ruled. You are an ambassador of restoration, an instrument of divine disruption. There will be moments when you question your own strength. You'll wonder if you have what it takes to keep going. But remember this, your strength was never meant to come from you. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives inside you. You do not fight alone. Heaven's armies march with you, unseen but unmistakably present. When you speak truth, they respond. When you worship through pain, they draw their swords. Do not let your emotion deceive you. Just because you feel weary does not mean you are weak. Fatigue is not failure. It's simply the sign that you've been engaged in something sacred. Even soldiers rest between battles. Take time to breathe, to pray, to let your spirit recharge. Rest is not retreat, it's reinforcement. As was declared in the letter of James, chapter 4, verse 7, submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. This is not a suggestion, it's a strategy. Submission is your weapon. Resistance is your declaration. When you submit to divine authority, every counterfeit authority loses its claim over you. The enemy cannot stay where surrender reigns. The darkness will try to make you doubt your progress. But heaven measures growth differently. It sees the nights you refused to quit, the prayers you whispered when no one saw, the quiet choices that kept your spirit aligned. Those unseen victories are the foundation of what's coming next. You are entering a season where the attacks may not stop, but your response will change. The same things that once broke you will no longer move you. You'll walk through storms and remain calm because peace has become your armor. You'll face conflict and feel no fear because conviction has become your compass. Every chosen one reaches this stage, the moment when spiritual maturity replaces spiritual panic. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening?" but instead declare, "God is in this too." That shift is power. It turns every battle into a classroom, every enemy into a teacher, every pain into prophecy. So stand tall. Let your shoulders straighten and your spirit rise. You carry authority not given by man, but granted by heaven. When you walk, the atmosphere adjusts. When you pray, invisible doors open. When you speak truth, chains fall off. You don't have to shout to shake the realm of darkness. Your obedience alone does it. This season may not get easier, but you will grow stronger. You will look back and realize that every confrontation was actually confirmation that you were moving in the right direction. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being targeted because you are chosen. And the very resistance you feel now is proof that something holy is about to be released through you. When the battle rages and the shadows grow bold, heaven begins to communicate in a language only the sensitive can hear. You've started to notice it, haven't you? Chosen one. The patterns that repeat in your days. The dreams that linger after you wake. The words that seem to echo from every corner of your life. These are not coincidences. They are messages wrapped in mystery. Signs sent from a realm that watches over you. The Spirit speaks constantly, but only those who quiet their souls can discern it. The noise of the world is loud, and it tries to drown out the frequency of heaven. Yet, in the stillness between your breaths, the divine voice whispers again. Sometimes it comes as a memory that refuses to fade. Other times it arrives through a stranger's kindness, as sudden peace, a song that plays at just the right moment. These are breadcrumbs from eternity, guiding you towards alignment. But when your heart tells you it's time, respond, like a river that gives back to the ocean that feeds it. Your engagement helps this flow continue. If these words have spoken to your soul, gently tap the like. Share this with another searching heart. Or subscribe so the message can keep reaching those still wandering in the dark. Every gesture, no matter how small, becomes part of the same divine rhythm, light meeting light. Have you felt it? That sense that someone unseen is orchestrating your path, the right people appearing at the right time, the detours that led you to safety, the closed doors that made no sense then, but now look like mercy. You are walking in divine choreography. Every step, every pause, every delay woven into a design too precise to be accidental. And in the midst of that design, heaven sends personal messages to keep your heart steady. This season may not get easier, but you will grow stronger. You will look back and realize that every confrontation was actually confirmation that you were moving in the right direction. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being targeted because you are chosen. And the very resistance you feel now is proof that something holy is about to be released through you. This season may not get easier, but you will grow stronger. You will look back and realize that every confrontation was actually confirmation that you were moving in the right direction. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being targeted because you are chosen. And the very resistance you feel now is proof that something holy is about to be released through you. And when signs appear, do not boast of them as trophies. They are not for pride, but for partnership. God reveals not to entertain curiosity, but to enlist cooperation. Revelation is a responsibility. What you know, you must live. What you see, you must protect. What you hear, you must obey. Chosen one. The messages you've been receiving are not random fragments. They are coordinates. Heaven is mapping your route through a world growing darker by the day. The same way a sailor reads the stars to navigate the sea. You must learn to read the signs to navigate your destiny. Heaven's communication is not always comfortable. Sometimes it warns. Sometimes it corrects. Sometimes it exposes truth you would rather ignore. Yet even when it hurts, it heals. The purpose of revelation is never condemnation. It is transformation. God does not reveal to shame you. He reveals to shape you. And when signs appear, do not boast of them as trophies. They are not for pride, but for partnership. God reveals not to entertain curiosity, but to enlist cooperation. Revelation is a responsibility. What you know, you must live. What you see, you must protect. What you hear, you must obey. Chosen one. The messages you've been receiving are not random fragments, they are coordinates. Heaven is mapping your route through a world growing darker by the day. The dreams, the whispers, the divine patterns, they are your compass. Do not dismiss them. Do not overanalyze them. Simply follow peace. For peace is heaven's punctuation mark at the end of every true revelation. And when you feel uncertain, return to stillness. The same voice that began this conversation will not leave it unfinished. The one who whispered your name before you were born will continue to guide you until his purpose in you is complete. So listen, observe, and trust. Heaven is speaking, and you, beloved chosen one, are finally learning to understand its language. And when signs appear, do not boast of them as trophies. They are not for pride, but for partnership. God reveals not to entertain curiosity, but to enlist cooperation. Revelation is a responsibility. What you know, you must live. What you see, you must protect. What you hear, you must obey. Chosen one. The messages you've been receiving are not random fragments, they are coordinates. Heaven is mapping your route through a world growing darker by the day. You have been praying for direction, asking for discernment, yearning for signs that would make the path clear. Now that the light has arrived, it may sting your eyes. It always does at first. Light doesn't just show what is beautiful, it shows what must be removed. That's the work of divine revelation. It purifies by exposure. You've come too far to retreat into denial. The truth God reveals is not meant to crush you, but to crown you. Light has a way of exposing what once felt comfortable in the dark. You've likely noticed it lately. Truths surfacing suddenly, motives revealing themselves, situations showing their real nature. It can be disorienting when the veil lifts, but chosen one, this is not chaos, it's clarity. What feels like everything falling apart is actually everything falling into alignment. Heaven never reveals to embarrass, it reveals to empower. It's bringing to the surface habits that no longer fit your future, relationships that drain your energy, and thoughts that keep you chained to your past. The exposure feels uncomfortable because it's sacred surgery, removing infection before promotion. As was recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. These words are not a poetic metaphor, they are a decree. The moment light appears, darkness loses its dominion. It doesn't argue or resist, it simply retreats. That's what's happening around you and within you. The light you carry is confronting every shadow, and the shadows are trembling because they know their time is up. Every truth revealed in this season is meant to strengthen you, not shame you. The exposure of false friends, the end of old patterns, the collapse of comfort zones, it's all necessary. You cannot build a palace on a cracked foundation. Heaven loves you too much to let you keep living among illusions. Remember, chosen one, exposure is protection. God uncovers what you cannot see to prevent what you cannot survive. You may not understand the why right now, but clarity always follows obedience. When you trust the light, you will realize that what left your life wasn't loss, it was deliverance. And soon, the very light that reveals will begin to guide. It will not only show you what must end, but also illuminate what must begin. You'll see opportunities glowing where there used to be walls. You'll recognize purpose in places you once called pain. Every revelation brings responsibility. Once you see truth, you can no longer pretend you don't. Heaven will hold you accountable for the light you carry. That's why you must walk carefully in this new season. Guard your words, your energy, your focus. Don't waste time arguing with those still comfortable in darkness. Keep shining, keep moving, keep trusting. There will be moments when you feel alone in this illumination, when others misunderstand your shift. Don't let that discourage you. Light often walks ahead before others catch up. You are not losing connection, you are gaining clarity. Soon, you'll look back and realize how merciful this revelation was. What once terrified you to face will become the testimony that sets others free. You'll stand in rooms and speak with authority because you've lived through exposure and survived transformation. So, breathe. Don't hinder. Don't shrink. The light within you was never meant to flicker, it was meant to blaze. God does his best work behind closed doors, because what he builds in secret will not crumble in the open. And now, the hour draws near. The revelation is almost ready to unfold, not as a flash of spectacle, but as the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you're meant to be. You'll know it when it happens. A peace will settle over you like dawn mist. And what used to confuse you will suddenly make sense. And in that simple act, the chains of confusion break. You align with heaven's illumination, becoming not just a receiver of light, but a bearer of it. So say it. Chosen one, I see truth. Let the light do its work. The shadows have had their time. Now it's your turn to shine. And the more you allow truth to shine through you, the more heaven will trust you with deeper mysteries. If this word touches that hidden part of you, the one that's been fighting to stay brave through revelation, type, I see truth. Those 3 words are more than a comment. They are a covenant. When you write them, you are declaring to heaven and to yourself, I will not run from what is being revealed. I will not fear the light. I choose to walk in it. It is the moment when the invisible becomes visible, when the promise you've carried in your spirit takes form in the natural. All this time, heaven has been arranging what your eyes could not yet perceive. The delays that frustrated you, the detours that exhausted you, even the disappointments that seemed unfair, they were all divine positioning. While you felt forgotten, the blueprint of your breakthrough was being drawn in heaven's workshop. The silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. God does his best work behind closed doors, because what he builds in secret will not crumble in the open. And now, the hour draws near. The revelation is almost ready to unfold, not as a flash of spectacle, but as the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you're meant to be. You'll know it when it happens. A peace will settle over you like dawn mist. And what used to confuse you will suddenly make sense. All the broken fragments will begin to fit together, forming a picture you couldn't have imagined. You've walked through nights that felt endless, but light always finds the faithful. Heaven never wastes obedience. Every yes you whispered through tears was heard. And now the harvest is coming. You've been carrying a promise so heavy, it almost felt like pain, but that weight was glory in disguise. As revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 2, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, to search out a matter is glory. Heaven will hold you accountable for the light you carry. That's why you must walk carefully in this new season. Guard your words, your energy, your focus. Don't waste time arguing with those still comfortable in darkness. Keep shining, keep moving, keep trusting. There will be moments when you feel alone in this illumination, when others misunderstand your shift. Don't let that discourage you. Light often walks ahead before others catch up. You'll find yourself drawn to peace instead of noise, to purpose instead of performance. You'll recognize which voices to trust and which doors to leave unopened. This clarity is heaven's crown for your endurance. Now, as this message finds you, let your heart remain open. If these words feel like they were written from your own soul, if you sense that divine spark stirring within, nurture it, feed it, let it grow. Because when revelation comes, it doesn't come to visit, it comes to transform. All the broken fragments will begin to fit together, forming a picture you couldn't have imagined. You've walked through nights that felt endless, but light always finds the faithful. Heaven never wastes obedience. Every yes you whispered through tears was heard. And now the harvest is coming. You've been carrying a promise so heavy, it almost felt like pain, but that weight was glory in disguise. Every word released here is not content, it's current. It flows from heaven's river, carrying revelation meant to reach those still searching in the dark. Staying connected is like keeping a lamp lit in your window for those still wandering home. And if you feel moved to sow back into this work, to give, do it as a sacred exchange, not obligation. Think of it as rain returning to the clouds that once watered the earth. When you give, you complete the circle of blessing. Your generosity doesn't fuel a machine, it fuels a mission to awaken, to restore, to remind every listener that heaven still speaks. Every act of giving is a prayer with hands. Every seed becomes a voice saying, "Let this light keep shining." Now, the Tuesday revelation will not just show you what God can do, it will remind you of who you are. You are not a spectator in this story, you are a participant. You are not waiting for the world to change, you are part of the change. Heaven is releasing. When the revelation unfolds, you will understand why the silence was necessary, why the pressure was vital, and why you had to keep walking, even when nothing made sense. Chosen one, this is your moment of unveiling. The divine curtain is lifting, and heaven's masterpiece, your life is stepping into full view. You are about to see what faith has been building behind the scenes. So open your hands, steady your heart, and welcome what's coming. The Tuesday revelation is not arriving to impress you, it's arriving to transform you. And when it does, let gratitude be your language. For what's about to unfold is not just the answer to your prayers, it is the evidence that heaven heard every word. God's restoration doesn't come to patch what's broken, it rebuilds from the foundation up. But restoration does not always arrive wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it comes disguised as new responsibility. Sometimes the reward is not rest, but readiness. What heaven gives back is not just blessing, it's purpose. The pain you endured has produced capacity. You are now able to carry what once would have crushed you. That is the true exchange. sorrow for strategy, pain for power, confusion for calling. Every battle, every disappointment, every delay was a chapter in your proving. Heaven does not hand crowns to those who only pray for them. It gives them to those who persevere when prayer feels empty. You've learned how to worship in the wilderness, how to walk by faith when vision blurred, how to trust even when the outcome remained hidden. That is what qualifies you. It is easy to praise God in victory, but it is divine to praise Him in pain. You have done that, even when no one saw. Every whispered prayer, every quiet act of obedience, every tear that fell in secret, they were all counted, all recorded, all woven into the tapestry of your calling. Heaven saw the nights you couldn't explain to anyone. The ache in your chest became incense before the throne. The tests were never random. They were measuring your endurance, weighing your obedience, sharpening your spirit. Before a warrior is crowned, they must first survive the proving ground. You have survived yours. And now, the fire that once frightened you no longer burns. It purifies. What was once weakness has become wisdom. The heart that once trembled now beats steady with faith. You are not the same person who began this journey. The wounds that once bled now glow with glory. Every scar is proof that you did not quit. Each mark is a medal of endurance worn in heaven's eyes. What others called failure, heaven calls formation. Heaven is marking a moment in time, a seal that separates those who only heard from those who truly obeyed. You can sense it, can't you? The quiet finality in the air, as if heaven itself is signing something unseen. The angels are not rushing, they are recording every act of faith, every decision made in surrender. Every time you chose obedience over comfort, it's all being sealed. This is the sealing of the remnant. Chosen one. That's what a crown does. It radiates light invisible to the eye, but undeniable to the soul. Your courage has earned heaven's trust, and trust is the true reward. God can now release assignments through you that He couldn't before, because your faith has proven steady. The tests didn't disqualify you, they equipped you. The isolation you once resented was training for leadership. The pain that confused you was preparation for compassion. The very things that threatened to destroy you became the building blocks of your destiny. Do not rush this moment. Wear your crown quietly. Let humility be the throne on which it rests. The greatest kings and queens of heaven's kingdom are not those who shout the loudest, but those who serve the deepest. You will find glory in giving, not in gaining. You will find strength in surrender, not in control. This crown is not about recognition, it's about revelation. It reveals who you've always been beneath the layers of fear and doubt. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you were all along. Every trial has been peeling away what was temporary so that what is eternal could stand revealed. Soon, you will see how every painful season was actually heaven crowning you in stages. The wilderness was the anointing chamber. The tears were the oil. The loneliness was the coronation procession. And now, the light you carry testifies of every fire you've survived. Chosen one. Stand tall, not in arrogance, but in awareness. The crown upon your life is invisible to most, but visible to all who walk in the Spirit. Wear it with grace. Speak with authority. Love with mercy. And never forget, the crown is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your service. For those who have endured much much will now be entrusted, and you, refined and ready, will lead, not with power, but with peace. Heaven is marking a moment in time, a seal that separates those who only heard from those who truly obeyed. You can sense it, can't you? The quiet finality in the air, as if heaven itself is signing something unseen. The angels are not rushing, they are recording every act of faith, every decision made in surrender. Every time you chose obedience over comfort, it's all being sealed. This is the sealing of the remnant. Chosen one, the ones who have endured refinement, resisted rebellion, and remained faithful even when the world turned cold. You have walked through your own wilderness, but now the fire has burned away what could not remain. You stand clean, bare, and ready. The oil of heaven rests upon you, invisible yet undeniable. This seal is not decoration, it is divine identification. It marks you as one who belongs wholly to God, one who cannot be bought, broken, or bribed by the systems of the world. While others chase recognition, you chase righteousness. While the crowd seeks comfort, you seek consecration. This is what sets the remnant apart. You don't follow trends, you follow truth. You don't live by sight, you live by revelation. That's why you felt misunderstood by so many, because heaven has hidden you for such a time as this. Every generation has a remnant, a handful of souls who carry the fire when the rest grow cold. They walk quietly among the multitude, but burn with unseen glory. They are the watchmen, the intercessors, the vessels who stand between heaven and earth and say, "Not on my watch." You are one of them. You are not loud, but your presence shifts the atmosphere. Your prayers are not long, but they are lethal to darkness. Your faith may seem small, but it moves mountains because it's rooted in purity. The sealing is a divine act of preservation. Heaven marks what it intends to protect. You are being sealed, not for hiding, but for revealing at the appointed hour. When the shaking intensifies in the world, those sealed by faith will stand firm while others scatter. This isn't about superiority, it's about assignment. God preserves what he intends to use. As revealed in the book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 3, "Do not harm the land or the sea or the trees until we put a seal on the foreheads of the servants of our God." These words echo across time to this very moment. The same divine instruction that once preserved the faithful now rests upon you. Heaven's command over your life is, do not touch. The enemy may surround you, but he cannot consume you. The mark of divine ownership guards your every step. You might feel the pressure increasing, the spiritual warfare tightening around you. But understand this, pressure does not destroy what has been sealed, it proves it. The seal is your evidence that heaven has invested in you. When life presses hard, that's when the oil begins to flow. And oil flows only from what's been crushed. Chosen one, you carry heaven's insignia on your soul. You are not ordinary. That's why ordinary paths won't satisfy you anymore. You crave something higher, something holier, something eternal. That hunger is not weakness, it's the mark of those who belong to another kingdom. The world will never fill what heaven designed. The sealing also means assignment. Heaven doesn't mark what it will not use. The time is coming when those sealed will rise in wisdom, creativity, and courage. They will lead where others fear to go, build what others said was impossible, and heal what others abandoned as broken. The remnant carries solutions, not slogans. They bring peace where chaos reigns and hope where despair lingers. You, chosen one, are part of that wave. So guard the seal. Protect your peace, your purity, your purpose. Avoid distractions that dull your discernment. Do not exchange your oil for attention, nor your holiness for applause. What you carry is rare. Handle it with reverence. And when doubt whispers, "Why me?" remember, heaven saw something in you worth preserving. You were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. If your spirit bears witness to this, if you feel the confirmation stirring deep inside you, then act in faith. Comment 444 below. Those numbers are not just digits. They symbolize divine stability. 4 corners, 4 winds, 4 foundations. When you write 444, you're declaring, I am sealed, I am grounded, I am unshakable. It's your way of aligning with the heavenly decree already written over your name. You are confirming to both heaven and earth that your allegiance is set, your faith is fixed, and your heart is sealed for God's purposes alone. Chosen one. The seal upon you is eternal. Walk with quiet authority. The mark you carry is invisible ink to the world, but in the spirit realm, it blazes like fire. You are preserved for what's coming, and when the world trembles, you will stand. You can feel it now, the stirring deep within your chest, like embers being breathed on by unseen wind. This is the moment when everything that has been prepared begins to burn with purpose. The fire on the altar of destiny is awakening inside you, and nothing will ever feel ordinary again. For a long time, you've lived between promise and fulfillment. You've known you were chosen, but you've wondered when that choosing would begin to mean something tangible. Now, the divine spark that has been quietly flickering through the years is catching flame. What once seemed small and uncertain is becoming holy fire. Heaven is igniting what it placed in you before the foundation of the world. But fire, though beautiful, is never comfortable. It consumes what cannot stay. To carry heaven's flame is to live in continual surrender. Every day becomes an altar. Every choice, a match. Every breath, an offering. You can feel it now, the stirring deep within your chest, like embers being breathed on by unseen wind. This is the moment when everything that has been prepared begins to burn with purpose. The fire on the altar of destiny is awakening inside you, and nothing will ever feel ordinary again. For a long time, you've lived between promise and fulfillment. You've known you were chosen, but you've wondered when that choosing would begin to mean something tangible. You are learning that destiny doesn't arrive in flashes of glory. It grows in the heat of devotion. The more you yield, the brighter you burn. The altar of destiny is not made of stone or gold. It's built from obedience. Each time you chose forgiveness instead of resentment, you laid another brick. Each time you prayed when you felt empty, you added fuel. Every act of faith, every quiet yes when no one saw, those were sparks. And now, the fire they birthed is beginning to rise. As recorded in the book of Leviticus, chapter 6, verse 13, the fire on the altar must be kept burning. It must not go out. These ancient words carry a command that still speaks today. The fire in your spirit is not meant for moments. It's meant for maintenance. It is your responsibility to keep it alive to guard it from distraction, to feed it with prayer, to protect it from the winds of compromise. The world around you is growing colder, dimmer, more distracted. But you, chosen one, are being called to carry warmth in a season of ice. Your life becomes a hearth where others may come and find light again. You don't even have to speak for this to happen. Your presence alone becomes a flame that chases shadows. Still, fire requires stewardship. Too little fuel and it fades. Too much noise and it smothers. That's why heaven keeps pulling you back into moments of stillness, to refocus, to rekindle, to remind you that this flame is sacred. This is not a fire that destroys, it refines. It burns away confusion and fear, consuming hesitation and lighting courage in its place. You will find yourself changing, not because you are trying harder, but because holiness has taken hold. The old self cannot survive in this temperature. The weak places are being strengthened, the weary places renewed, the wounded places purified, because you'll realize that if some doors hadn't closed, you would still be standing in rooms too small for the person you've become. Chosen one, do not rush this restoration. It unfolds like dawn, slow, steady, and sure. One ray at a time, one answered prayer at a time, until suddenly everything glows again. Let your heart rest in the rhythm of heaven's exchange. Every sacrifice has been seen, every surrender has been stored. The promise of restoration was never a myth, it was a covenant. The fire you carry is not for you alone. It's meant to ignite others. You are part of a divine chain reaction, a spark in a world starving for warmth. Every time you share love instead of judgment, light instead of bitterness, you pass the flame forward. This is how revival spreads, not through noise, but through nurture. Be mindful. Though fire is alive, it grows, it adapts, it purifies. But if neglected, it dwindles. Guard your time with God as fiercely as you guard your breath. The enemy doesn't fear your talent or your titles, he fears your fire. Because when a heart burns with divine purpose, it becomes unstoppable. And yet, fire demands discipline. You cannot light everything around you. You must choose what to burn for. The altar must remain pure. That means letting go of distractions disguised as opportunities. It means walking away from conversations that extinguish your peace. The fire on your altar is not just yours to tend, it's heaven's answer to a world that forgot how to hope. Protect your intimacy with the divine, for that intimacy is the oil that sustains the blaze. You may not always see the fire's effect, but heaven does. Every moment you choose to remain faithful adds fuel to a flame that will outlive you. Your obedience today will warm generations tomorrow. So keep the fire burning. Feed it with gratitude. Fan it with prayer. Protect it with purity. And when darkness gathers around you, remember, you are not waiting for light. You are carrying it. You have shed tears that fell like currency into the soil of destiny. What you thought was the end of a story was actually the turning of a page. The author was writing, even in your silence. You just couldn't hear the pen moving. But now, chosen one. The exchange is beginning. Heaven is returning what was taken only this time. It comes refined, matured, and multiplied. You've been mourning ashes, unaware that heaven has been gathering them for transformation. Ashes are not waste. They are proof that something once burned brightly. They carry the memory of fire, and in the hands of the divine, even ashes become beauty. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every missed opportunity is about to return in another form, purified, purposeful, perfectly timed. This is the mystery of divine balance. Nothing surrendered to God is ever lost. Every seed buried in tears will rise in joy. Every dream laid on the altar will return, resurrected. The time you thought was wasted was actually investment. Heaven keeps no debts unpaid. The great exchange is heaven's law of justice. It restores more than it removes. You will soon notice doors opening where walls once stood. Conversations that once brought confusion will now carry clarity. The people who left in silence will be replaced by those who speak your language of purpose. Every place where you felt diminished will become a place of divine demonstration. God's restoration doesn't come to patch what's broken. It rebuilds from the foundation up. But restoration does not always arrive wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it comes disguised as new responsibility. Sometimes the reward is not rest, but readiness. What heaven gives back is not just blessing, it's purpose. The pain you endured has produced capacity. You are now able to carry what once would have crushed you. That is the true exchange. Sorrow for strategy, pain for power, confusion for calling. As recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, He gives beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. This ancient promise still breathes through every broken heart that dares to believe. It means your mourning has an expiration date. The heaviness you've carried will not last forever. Where you once wept, you will worship. Where you once questioned, you will declare. The great exchange is already unfolding quietly. You may not see it all at once. It rarely happens in a flash. It begins in the small shifts, peace returning where there was anxiety, laughter bubbling up after long silence, opportunities forming from what once felt final. You will find yourself smiling again for no reason other than this: you survived. And now you see purpose in the pain. Remember, heaven restores differently than the world. The world replaces, heaven renews. The world compensates, heaven transforms. You won't just receive what you lost. You'll become someone who no longer needs it the way you once did. What once defined you will no longer hold power over you. That is real freedom. Every season of loss carved space inside you for something greater to dwell. Every unanswered prayer built hunger for deeper presence. You had to be emptied to be entrusted. The void created by loss has become a chamber where glory now resides. You are no longer who you were before the breaking. You are wiser, quieter, and infinitely stronger. When the great exchange completes, you will understand that God was never taking from you. He was trading up. The old garments had to be stripped away because new robes were being tailored. The dreams that died were making room for visions too vast for your old mindset to contain. And when you finally see it, gratitude will replace grief. You will thank God not only for what He gave, but for what He took, because you'll realize that if some doors hadn't closed, you would still be standing in rooms too small for the person you've become. Chosen one, do not rush this restoration. It unfolds like dawn, slow, steady, and sure. One ray at a time, one answered prayer at a time, until suddenly everything glows again. Let your heart rest in the rhythm of heaven's exchange. Every sacrifice has been seen. Every surrender has been stored. The promise of restoration was never a myth. It was a covenant. Because you'll realize that if some doors hadn't closed, you would still be standing in rooms too small for the person you've become. Chosen one. Do not rush this restoration. It unfolds like dawn, slow, steady, and sure. One ray at a time. One answered prayer at a time. Until suddenly, everything glows again. Let your heart rest in the rhythm of heaven's exchange. Every sacrifice has been seen. Every surrender has been stored. The promise of restoration was never a myth. It was a covenant. Every word released here is not content, it's current. It flows from heaven's river, carrying revelation meant to reach those still searching in the dark. Staying connected is like keeping a lamp lit in your window for those still wandering home. And if you feel moved to sow back into this work to give, do it as a sacred exchange, not obligation. Think of it as rain returning to the clouds that once watered the earth. When you give, you complete the circle of blessing. You are standing in the narrow place between what was and what will be. Many turn back here, mistaking discomfort for denial. But those who endure this final refining will rise higher than they imagined. Heaven is calling for clarity, for purity, for undivided loyalty. This is the moment where half-hearted faith will not sustain you. Either you believe what he promised, or you don't. There is no middle ground. You may have noticed how quiet things have become. The silence that follows instruction is not abandonment. It is assessment. Heaven gives the final test in silence. Not in storm. It's in the still moments that obedience proves itself real. You are being measured now, not by what you say, but by what you do. The Spirit whispers, don't look back. The temptation to revisit old habits, old hurts, old comforts is strong when you're about to cross over. But Lot's wife turned to salt, not because she loved the past, but because she doubted the future. Don't let nostalgia chain you to what heaven has already released. Some memories must stay buried for resurrection to happen. The elevation coming is not gentle, it's swift. You won't climb, you'll be lifted. But that lift demands surrender. Gravity only releases what is willing to let go. God is asking you to loosen your grip on what you think you need, so he can place in your hands what you were always meant to hold. As written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. As written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. The step of obedience will make sense after you take it, not before. Chosen one. What heaven is birthing through, you will require a clean vessel. Let go of resentment, of fear, of pride. These things cannot breathe in high places. As an eagle sheds feathers before soaring, you must release what once kept you warm, but now keeps you weighted. The altitude of purpose does not allow clutter, and as you prepare to ascend, let gratitude be your fuel. Look back, not in regret, but in reverence. Every valley you've crossed has given you wings for this climb. You're not rising alone, you're carrying the prayers of every moment. You chose faith instead of fear. Heaven remembers them all. If this message resonates with you, if you feel it stirring in that quiet place where your spirit recognizes truth, take a moment to stay connected to the light that brought you here. Tap the like, not for numbers, but as a small act of agreement. Share it, not as routine, but as seed, because someone out there needs this same whisper of awakening. You might never meet them, but heaven will use your share as a spark for their salvation. Subscribe if your heart senses that these messages are not random, they're rhythm. Each word builds upon the last like steps of a ladder, drawing you closer to divine understanding. Staying connected keeps you aligned with the flow of revelation that is shaping you quietly day by day. This is the plea that heaven echoes over you right now. The door of grace remains open, but not indefinitely. Merci lingus. But it will not wait forever. When you feel the pull to act, respond quickly. Hesitation is the thief of destiny. You have come too far to pause at the edge. The enemy will try to whisper that you're not ready, that you need more time, more confirmation, more certainty. But faith never waits for comfort, it creates it. When you do, you are not merely typing words, you're building a memorial of faith. You're joining a chorus of chosen ones across the world who are walking through their own crossings, their own Tuesdays of revelation. Your words may be the confirmation another weary soul is waiting for. This is your moment of decision, your final checkpoint before elevation. Heaven is not asking for perfection, only participation. Step into it with reverence. And if your spirit feels moved, give not out of duty, but as devotion. Think of giving as tending the flame. When you add a log to a fire, you're not losing wood, you're extending warmth. Every offering, every act of generosity, every prayer keeps this light burning brighter. You are not funding a voice, you are fueling a vision, the spreading of truth across hearts that need it most. Lastly, leave your thoughts below. Comment your reflection, your testimony, your simple amen. You can almost feel the hum of heaven beneath the surface of your life, a vibration that grows stronger with each passing hour. What once felt distant is now near. What was only a promise begins to breathe. This is the manifestation hour, the moment when what you believed finally begins to appear. When faith becomes sight and prayer becomes evidence. You've waited, watched, and wondered. You've walked through wilderness and silence, through the ache of not yet and the sting of almost, and still, you did not give up. That endurance is now calling forth reward. The seeds you buried in seasons of tears are breaking the surface, pushing through the soil of time. You are about to see fruit from prayers you forgot you prayed. Manifestation does not happen like magic. It happens like dawn. The first light seems faint, almost fragile. But within moments, everything shifts. Colors return. Shapes emerge. What was invisible in darkness suddenly becomes clear. That's how heaven works. Slowly, then suddenly, and when it comes, it always feels both brand new and strangely familiar, as if your spirit had already walked there before your feet arrived. The manifestation hour is not about receiving everything you want, it's about becoming everything heaven designed. You will realize that the promise was never just about a destination, but about transformation. The waiting changed you. The pain refined you. And now, what's manifesting will mirror your maturity. Don't expect fireworks. Expect peace. Peace is the true sign of divine fulfillment. The world celebrates noise. Heaven celebrates knowing. When God's plan begins to unfold, it doesn't scream, it settles. It settles your fears, your doubts, your striving. It fills the room quietly like morning light, illuminating what's been there all along. You may not notice it at first. It often begins subtly, a conversation that confirms a vision, a door that opens without effort, a moment where what used to hurt no longer does. These are the gentle ripples of manifestation. What you once had to chase now begins to find you, as spoken in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, it will surely come. It will not delay. As was recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The things God is manifesting in your life are not fragile, but they are sacred. Treat them with reverence. You may feel both excitement and unease right now. That's natural. When destiny finally takes shape, the human heart trembles between gratitude and fear. You've hoped for this, prayed for this, and yet a part of you wonders, can I really carry it? The answer is yes, because you already have. Every moment of perseverance was training. Every not yet prepared your hands to hold what's here. Remember this: manifestation reveals, but it also refines. It will expose hidden motives and test pure intentions. Success is a mirror that reflects both strength and weakness. Stay grounded. Do not let the visible make you forget the invisible foundation that birthed it. Keep your roots deep in prayer, gratitude, and humility. There will be moments when what manifests doesn't look exactly as you imagined. Don't panic. Heaven often packages blessings in unfamiliar forms. The answered prayer may arrive wearing work clothes instead of royal robes, but it is still divine provision. Learn to recognize glory disguised as ordinary. The mundane can be miraculous when viewed through faith, and even as things begin to unfold, do not rush ahead of grace. The same timing that brought you here will carry you forward. Move gently, step by step. Let discernment lead, not emotion. Manifestation is not a sprint, it's a sacred unveiling. Soon, you will see patterns aligning, relationships restored, resources appearing. The puzzle pieces you kept trying to fit will finally click into place. You'll look around and realize that nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Every closed door was a compass. Every unanswered prayer a reroute toward perfection. This is the hour heaven has been preparing you for. Those words are ancient but alive. They remind you that timing is not punishment, it is protection. Heaven delays nothing. It delivers precisely when maturity meets readiness. You are ready now. That's why things are shifting faster than before. The appointed time has arrived. But manifestation is not a finish line, it's a foundation. Every answered prayer creates responsibility. Every new opportunity demands stewardship. What is revealed must be guarded, or it risks being reduced. You can almost feel the air changing. Chosen one, what was once hidden begins to move toward the light. The silence of separation has carved space inside you for something extraordinary to be born, the awakening of your hidden assignment. This is the season when divine blueprints unfold, not on paper, but within your heart. You are beginning to sense that what you've survived wasn't random, it was rehearsal for revelation. Everything you have endured was leading here. Every tear carved the path. Every prayer built the foundation. The crown you receive is not made of gold or jewels, it's made of understanding. of faith, of unwavering surrender. It is the symbol that you have completed the circle, from called to chosen to crowned. You've learned that being chosen doesn't mean being spared, it means being strengthened. The trials that once felt like punishment now appear as preparation. The pain that once seemed purposeless now glows with meaning. The silence that once wounded you has become sacred language between you and God. This is what the crown represents: wisdom born of warfare, peace born of perseverance. There is a stillness around you now, a holy calm that comes after the storm. You no longer chase validation, no longer pay for understanding. You simply are, and that is the power of divine maturity. When the world clamors for attention, the truly crowned walk in quiet authority. You don't need to prove what heaven has already proclaimed. As written in the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 10, "You have made them to be a kingdom and priests to serve our God, and they will reign on the earth." These words are your inheritance. You are not only a survivor, you are a steward. You are not only restored, you are released. The authority given to you is not for domination, but for intercession. You reign not by rule, but by righteousness. The crown signifies partnership. Heaven is no longer merely moving for you. It is now moving through you. You've become a conduit, a vessel of divine will. When you speak, the unseen listens. When you move, the atmosphere shifts. That is the mystery of the crowned life. Heaven trusts you to carry its weight on earth. But remember, this crown is both honor and assignment. It glimmers with humility, not grandeur. The greater your elevation, the deeper your empathy must run. The true measure of glory is not how high you rise, but how low you're willing to reach for others. You are not crowned to escape humanity. You are crowned to serve it. You will begin to notice how different life feels in this season. What used to stir fear now stirs compassion. What used to frustrate you now moves you to prayer. The same situations that once drained you now draw out your wisdom. The shift isn't in the world, it's in you. You have become the equilibrium between heaven and earth. There will still be storms, but they will not shake you. The winds will blow, but they will only strengthen your roots. You no longer crumble at chaos because peace has become your position. The crown is not fragile. It's forged. It cannot be stolen, because it was sealed by fire. You might not even feel different on the surface, but the spirit realm knows your name now. Angels recognize the authority resting on you. Darkness trembles when you enter rooms that once intimidated you. You carry the calm of someone who has already seen the end and trusts the author. The final rise is not loud, it is luminous. It's the kind of glory that doesn't seek spotlight, but emits light. The world will begin to notice your presence, not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. People will come to you, drawn by peace they can't explain, by wisdom they didn't know they needed. You have become a living sanctuary, a reminder that the divine still dwells among the willing. There will be moments of reflection, times when you sit quietly and realize how far you've come. The wounds that once bled now shine like scars of victory. The fears that once ruled you have turned into testimonies. The valleys you once cursed have become your credentials. You'll whisper, "It was all worth it," and heaven will echo, "Yes, it was." And now, chosen one, the circle closes. You've heard the call. walked the path, and received the crown. But remember, this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. What you felt through these words wasn't coincidence, it was confirmation. Heaven has been speaking to you, preparing you, lifting you toward purpose. If these messages have stirred something within you, let that light ripple outward. Tap the like, not for vanity, but as a symbol of agreement, a quiet amen that says, I receive this. Share it, so another wandering soul might stumble into the same awakening. You may never know whose life shifts because you cared enough to pass the flame. Subscribe if your spirit wants to stay close to this current of truth. Every message here is another step, another spark in the fire. Heaven is kindling across the earth. And finally, leave a comment, your reflection, your prayer, your gratitude. Every word written becomes part of this unfolding testimony of faith and transformation. The light that began here doesn't end here. It moves through you now. Carry it. Speak it. Live it. And remember, heaven never chooses in vain. You are, and always will be, God's chosen one.